Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell Wednesday, May 18th, 2022, round three today. As we came on this morning with I guess you'd call it the breakfast bankroll at 11:30. Some people on the left or west coast, 8:30 in the morning, eating their Cheerios, listening to myself and B Rob, B2B, talking some PGA golf on his insight on how he attacks the tournaments and especially the majors and what he was looking at this week. And then at 1 o'clock, we crossed the border like we always do on Wednesdays at 1 with Andrew McGinnis of Wager Talk and McGinnis Picks, talking NHL pucks, props, and all kinds of good stuff. A little recap on how the first round went and what he expects for the second round, and a couple props for tonight if you were listening. And now the closing bell with myself and Scott as we try to get you closer to the window tonight in the MLB. We are 6 weeks in. Let me see here, just so I'm not lying to you. The Yankees at 27-9, 36 games. So we still have 126 games, if my math is correct. So we're on our way as we speak already in the MLB. I put it on our Discord. Two finals, two teams that covered the first half and lost the game outright. If you had a Braves full ticket, that's a kick in the you-know-what. Last night we had the Braves first five in full game, and it was a sweat, but they pulled it off today. They would have covered the first five and losing extras. A tough loss there. And again, San Fran with Webb on paper is a box to wire, you would think, against Freeland, who, again, unders at home usually come in. His last time at home, I think they scored 2 touchdowns. But today, Giants win the first five, and Colorado comes back with a 5-3 win there. And Scotty's Tampa Bay Rays with Rasmussen beat up on Erod. Erod didn't get out of the first. We had Erod his last start, and he had trouble in the first and second inning. We snuck in the first five there, but looks like Erod could be injured, and his Rays win 6-1. Currently, Dodgers 5-2, bottom of the sixth. Bueller versus Davies. Minnesota. I left that on the desk. I probably should have gotten into it. I like them. I thought it was a great spot coming off the loss with Gray versus Jeffries. Would have had them in the first five. They're comfortably up 11-2 in the bottom of the seventh. And my Red Sox have just started. First inning, Garcia versus Pavetta. The VIPs got the alert. We're again trying a couple half-unit plays, first five and full games there. Numbers were kind of really weird on that Houston-Boston game. Really heavily bet, and money's on the Astros side. Not much movement, actually some reverse line movement there. And then later on tonight, we'll talk about the other game. But enough from me. Let's bring him in from the Sunshine State, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Morning, sir.
Good afternoon, Jeff. It's what is today? Today's Wednesday, right? It's that hump day thing. That's that camel hump thing day.
Hump day.
Yep, that's what it is. It's travel day, Major League Baseball, Wednesday, Thursdays. Get the guys in, they go play, and then they go to a new city, which is kind of fun because I'm telling you, I don't like these matchups that well. I don't, every time you turn around, there's minus 200 on the board. Yeah, and I get some more competitive series going here.
As I stated, I don't like beating a dead horse, but I'm going to beat a dead horse. There are some teams that have made statements early, both to the good and the bad in the AL East. Obviously, the Yankees just most likely will not be caught. I mean, unless, injuries are always a big part of baseball, but they got offense, timely hitting, some good front end pitching, and the back end has held up for the most part. And then, of course, the Red Sox, who are currently Red Sox are 14-22 that haven't won until this past weekend, hadn't won 2 games in a row since the start of the season, and already are down 1-0 as we speak to the Astros. But there's some other teams again. I'll go up to the Dodgers, who everyone expected to go run and hide, 24-12. San Fran falls to 22-14. Milwaukee 23-14. The Astros at 24 wins, and the Angels at 24 wins. So some teams have got off to some great starts. You would expect them to, be obviously competitive through the rest of the year. And the teams with the slow starts, you can take a snapshot. The Reds, for instance, I mean, we're all assuming they're dead and buried. I would have to say I'll give it another 10, 12 days. And here's the sad thing. Such an important game the locals were talking about for the Red Sox here. A chance to win their second series in a row. They won the series against the Rangers. They beat a real good team here with the Astros if they can find a way to win today. And then they got some teams that they can match up and play real well. There's 3 series in a row that they will be favored to win all 3 series. So you got to start taking 2 out of 3 there. But overall, I guess my thought here, Scott, is, I said it on the Discord before we went live. Take a look at where the Braves were at the end of May, start of June last year. Go back a couple of years to the Nationals when they won it. The teams that are leading the division on May 1st and even June 1st sometimes don't even get to the second round of the playoffs.
So let's look at it this way. New York, Minnesota, Houston, they're the division leaders. They're in the playoffs as of today. The Angels and Tampa Bay, those are your wild card teams as of today. So the shocking one to me in that bunch is Toronto's not in there, and the White Sox aren't in there. So let's look at it even farther and say, okay, the Boston Red Sox, right? They're what, 13 games or something like that now behind in 12 games. No, what is it? 13?
13.
So they're 13 games back. They're only 5.5 out of a wild card spot. 5.5. So all these teams that are all jumbled around and getting off to slow starts and all that stuff. Trust me when I tell you. I mean, even the Detroit Tigers, who are 13-20, whatever they are, 13-25, they're 7.5 games back. They're the farthest back in the American League for the wild card spot. So that's okay. You still got work to do to be 7.5 games behind, but they're missing Mize and they're missing Manning, and they're going to get Manning back here pretty soon, and Mize is going to come a little after that. They're working him a little slower, so they're going to get 2 of their better pitchers back. They're going to start winning again, and in the National League, the Mets. So think about this. This could be sewn up. What is today? May 18th. This could be it. New York Mets, Milwaukee Brewers, Dodgers, San Diego Padres, San Francisco Giants. Sounds pretty good to me.
The team without even looking right now that I think would be knocking on the door that will be, if they get some healthier starting pitching, would be the Reds, obviously. I mean, the Cardinals.
Yeah, well, the Cardinals are, quote, 0 games back of the wild card spot, but no, everybody else is going to go to the wayside. I mean, Colorado, Arizona, 2.5, 3 back, they're going to fall out. Then you got Miami, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Washington. The Cincinnati Reds, how bad the Cincinnati Reds are and have been, and everybody's been all on their case about how terrible. They're 10 games out of wild card spot. 10. And I get it that it's not just being 10 games back. You got to jump a lot of teams to get there. And that's the harder part. The harder part is passing and jumping the teams because you got so many ahead of you. But none of these teams are out of anything this early. But I will say this. The Yankees are 18 games over 500. 18 games over 500. So what if they play 500 ball the rest of the season? They're in. They're in. So that's that's one of those spots where I'm not saying that I'm not going to say that they're going to go win 300 games and all that stuff, but it depends on what they want to do. I mean, my guess is they're going to want to rest some pitching. They're going to want to do some different stuff. They're not going to put the pedal to the metal. But being 18 games over 500 this early is a spot where that gives them, like in our terms, they can hedge, right? I mean, they can hedge on what they want to do and pretty much kind of coast on some of the stuff sometimes. So I think it's an interesting way to look at it. I just think none of the teams are out of it.
And the plus that they get is the three teams chase them. Well, I'm saying three, that the Rays, Jays, and Sox will all beat up on themselves too. So I mean, they so they are in a great position there where. Again, everyone knows every year you got to pencil them in because, listen, they're not like the old Yankees with George there that are spending, light years ahead of everyone else. It's not like that anymore. The Dodgers do that, but everyone else is, they're thoughtful of where the tax number is, and they're trying to stay as close or, not tiptoeing way the hell over it. But they've made a statement. They've caught the rest of the league's eyes. And again, I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I'll say it one more time. The model of success in Major League Baseball before all these extra playoff teams was 20 games over 500 at home, 500 on the road, and you're in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they've almost accomplished. Well, I shouldn't say it that way because that's not the way it's done. But what I also was looking at is they've already played 20 games in the East, and that's a lot. The Rays have only played 9. So I mean, they're 7-2 in those 9 games. Of course, they played their favorite team already once, and they beat them all 3 times. Were they 21 out of 22 against the Orioles? So, but some of the scary stuff to look at is like Boston's 5-11 in the East. That's not good. Toronto's 9-10. That's not good. I think you're going to see. I think Tampa Bay is going to be right there at the end. I mean, they're going to be there, and that's they're not. I don't know that they're going to. I mean, what are they? They're only 5 games behind right now, and they're playing 750. The Yankees are playing 750 baseball right now. Holy crap!
The R word's got to come sooner or later, Scott. So we will talk about that.
Well, it probably won't come in the next 2 days because they still play the Orioles.
Already some games going on, like I said, and so a shorter board, obviously, maneuver. We got a game that's going to go off in 15 minutes, Washington and Miami. Lopez has been absolutely lights out. 5 minutes later, San Diego and the Phillies, Snell versus Wheeler. Snell's first game back. Mad Max facing Jordan Hicks. Smiley versus Crow. Crow has been added as a Pittsburgh starter. And then the American League after that. The board is yours, sir.
Well, so just looking at this stuff, and obviously you can't get into the games that have already started. Is that Cleveland game still raining? Yeah, still raining, right? These games are just crazy right now, and the lines are respected the way they're supposed to be. I mean, my numbers are really close to what these numbers are, so I don't really have any issues with the lines that much. It's trying to figure out how do you get into these games and where do you put your money, right? So like that Cincinnati game, you could still play that game. The concern that I have here is, right, Mailey's a better pitcher than what Quantrill is, and Quantrill has been really struggling. But Mailey doesn't hit that well. So you got a game score 46 for Mailey, you got a game score 50 for Quantrill over the season. But both of them are in the red when it comes to the metrics. Both of them are in the red when it comes to balls in play. So it's just too difficult to try to pick a winner there. So I don't like that one. That Garcia Pavetta game, To be honest, I have that one on my list as to play today, but I was going to play that game under the 9. Garcia has been really, really good, and Pavetta has been pretty good. But not only has he been pretty good, he's good against the Astros. So I kind of liked the idea that game was going to go under 9, but I don't want to talk about that one because it's already started. Then you run into what you said, the Gray Lopez game. You want to try to get into that game? I mean, the first half spreads on that game is, where is it? There it is. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Lopez is -0.5, -130 at circa, which is actually pretty good because I think they're catching on to what we're doing, Jeff. Because Cole is -165 today, Gosman's -160 today, Otani's -120, which kind of surprised me. But these are big numbers in the first 5 innings. So that kind of takes you and says, okay, I need a new strategy. So I'm not going to play Gray. Gray's last time out was a 28.
Let me just stop you there because the Angels game, if you go full game, is -118. The other two, I talked about the Dodgers on Monday, first 5 -150. They cover that. And then when Kimbrel gave up the 2-run homer in the 9th, they don't cover the run line in the full game. So if you are looking to get into some of those higher price first 5s, they're not allowing you unless you're a chalk eater. So they're almost giving you the hey,
full game.
They're giving you the full game if you want it now.
And I've been taking it. So I think you have to have a reason other than the number to play first 5 almost. I mean, you got to go say, I don't want to play on this. I don't want to play because the bullpen's bad, or, you want to stay away from Philadelphia's bullpen or something like that. Or in this case, Kimbrel's bullpen or whatever however you want to look at it. But the point being is I think you want to switch that only when you need to or you feel like you should. So anyway, I'm not going to play that game. I like Lopez. I like Lopez every time he goes out and pitches. I mean, every single time. He's just phenomenal. I don't like Gray that well. I don't like Washington that well. However, Gray's off a game score 28. I expect him to do pretty good. He's threw a game score 45 against Miami before already this year. And he's a big strikeout guy. I mean, he's 9.21 strikeouts per 9 innings. I don't like to bet on pitchers off the disabled list, so I'm going to scratch Snell off my list, which then means you got to look at the Wheeler side. And if you look at the numbers, I'm not going to play Wheeler. It's kind of like yesterday's number where he's -130, -140 against the Padres. And I didn't see the lineup yet, but I'm pretty sure let me click the right buttons here. I'm pretty sure that you have another spot where Harper's not playing tonight. He got a shot, and it was all part of him getting cleaned up and with his he's supposed to have Tommy John surgery is what he's supposed to have, but because he's not a pitcher, he's not going to have Tommy John surgery, so he's going to go play through it. He just can't throw. So Philadelphia, here we go, and there is no Bryce Harper. So you can see what happened when Bryce Harper didn't play yesterday. I mean, they got shut out yesterday. This big offense that's supposed to be really good. I just don't trust how long Snell's going to go. And he's going to pitch. I mean, if he comes out and he's Blake Snell, he's the right side. He play him first 5 or play him full game and see if he can go at least 6 innings and then put it up to the bullpens. But if he's not good, then it's not where you want to be. And one of my favorite plays to do is play against pitchers coming off the disabled list. So I'm going to stay off of that one. Gonzalez and Gosman. I'm sorry, Cole and Lyles. I'm just going to stay away. I mean, the numbers are outrageous if you want to play these games.
I'm going to intervene. I spoke with our good buddy Billy Hewlin today about this, and he talked about he liked the under there, and it was 7.5. And I asked him out loud why you like the under. He goes, well, obviously I like Cole, and I have no faith faith in the Baltimore lineup, which I can agree with. And then I says, well, are you afraid of the Yankee lineup? And I was like, in a blink of an eye, they can score 7, 8 on their own. And he goes, well, I get that. I just don't think Baltimore's going to score. So anyone listening here that wants to peel the layer back one more, if you had that same feeling, hey, I like the Yankees today. I don't think Baltimore's going to score, but the 7.5 scares me because I think the Yankees could put up 5, 6, or even 7. The Baltimore team total is 2.5 over -120. Okay. So if you like the under, theoretically, you could go take Baltimore under 2.5 for even money or +110, depending on your book. And if they kick a field goal and they win, they win. But if that was the thought process on the under and you liked Cole.
So I guess my thoughts on that would be there's not many shutouts in Major League Baseball. Every night there might be one. I don't know that I would bank on one team not scoring any runs. Now, if you look at the team total and you go, okay, the team total, what did you say it was, 2.5?
2.5.
And you want to say, I don't think they're going to score many runs, then I would say, okay, they're going to score 2 runs tonight. Mm-hmm. So if they score 2 runs tonight, can the Yankees score 6? That's how I would look at that.
Yeah, but that was my point is, if you were looking how to get into the game and you really like the under and you liked Cole, but you're afraid of the Yankee offense, hey, if Cole has an off night, Baltimore's going to kick the field goal. They're going to score 3 or more. But the thought process is, if you really like the under, but you're a little afraid of the Yankee offense, I think at even money or +110, you could have taken a shot on under 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's smart to do against, on the line. I mean, that's the way to do that. But my pattern of thinking would be is they're not going to get shut out anyway. I would just blow it up but betting wise, that's the smart way to look at it. I mean, there's no question. When it comes to Gonzalez and Gausman, I think that's the only play that I'm going to make this evening. I'm going to ride with Gausman at home as a -1.5 on the run line because Gonzalez had his best game he's ever thrown this year, last time out. And he's a game score 38 on the season. He's a 5.13, 5.19 xFIP Sierra number. This means that they're expected to hit him. His strikeout rate is 5.87. Balls are going to get put in play. Toronto has hit these guys a little bit. I was surprised yesterday that they got the bases loaded. Seattle and that Gilbert, he was my only loser yesterday. And the offense had the bases loaded with 1 out, and they hit into a double play, and then they didn't score. And Barrios did pretty well. So the Seattle offense is having some struggles, and they got a pitcher that can get hit. And Gausman is just Gausman. He's been great. 2.21, 2.22 is his numbers. He's 3 runs better. 3 runs. So he's also 10.49 on the strikeout rate. He doesn't walk anybody. 0.52 walk rate per 9 innings. They're going to have to earn their way on, and they're going to have to earn their way through. So I like them to win by at least 2 runs tonight. So that was -118, I think, -115. So I'm playing that one. I don't think St. Louis has much of a chance tonight against Scherzer. Hicks, Hicks has been pitching 4 and 5 innings. He doesn't have the big closer strikeout rate that he did have as a starter. His strikeout rate's 4.41. I'm sorry, it's 8.15. That's still pretty good for a starter, but it's not like what they do when they have a closer. There's 11, 12, 13. But I don't think that he's going to do too well, especially when you consider he's faced against Max. Max can go 7, 8 innings, but bring in one guy and the game's done. This Crow guy that's pitching for Pittsburgh today, his name's Will Crow. Will is a relief pitcher. Now, he was a starter at one point in time back in the day, and he didn't work out so well, and he's been bouncing around as a starter, and they've made him a reliever. I think this is a bullpen game for Pittsburgh. I'm not putting my putting Pittsburgh's bullpen up against anybody. That's Smiley on the mound, but you got Smiley who has not fared very well so far this season, and he is minus 150. I don't like to play minus 150 against anybody that's not done any well, so I'm not going to play that one either. The other one that I kind of liked was Ohtani today, but I'm going to stay off of that one too. Ohtani's been really good, but he's off great numbers. Dunning's off of bad numbers. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a feel that, Texas plays them pretty tough, or has been, except for yesterday. And then Giolito and Greinke. I don't like Greinke, but he's that spotty veteran guy that can go out there and do stuff. Giolito is really good, and Kansas City can't hit nobody. So, if you feel like you want to get into another game, I think that would probably be another way to go. But again, you're going to have to change the numbers. First five is what, minus 115, minus 120 again. No, that's full game. First half. Oh no, that's first half. So it's minus 115, minus 120 for Giolito, and you got to make sure that the White Sox are hitting. So, because I'm waiting on them to really start blowing up. When they start scoring 6, 7, 8 runs a game here for a couple of days, that's when you want to ride the White Sox. So I played one. That's it.
Again, Scotty kind of hit on everything for us that I saw. By the eyes, you kind of would try to want to sneak in the. You would think Miami minus the hook, first five there. Lopez has just been phenomenal there. Yankees, Baltimore, again, I just stated what I heard, and I was just pulling back another layer. Baltimore under 2.5 does intrigue me, plus 110 or even money. A field goal or more, you lose there. As Scotty said, Gosman has been absolutely lights out. The showing numbers. Angels coming off a loss, good spot for Shoei. I think the Angels get it done, but with that said, it's going to come. Scott said minus the hook. First five is minus 120. Full game minus 118 there. The last couple of games, it's raining. I stayed away from Cincinnati, Cleveland. What intrigued me about that was that overnight line, Cleveland was favored by 135. I did my weather check. I was like, this game's going to be delayed, if not canceled. So stayed away from that. And then again, on the Sox game, a lot of public money, a lot of tickets on Houston, yet though there was reverse line movement on the Sox. Sox looking again to win back-to-back series with 3 favorable series coming up. Altuve leads off with a homer to start the game. Pivetta gets the next 3. In come the Red Sox. Devers triple, sac fly 1-1, and then Xander Bogaerts with a homer. All Red Sox fans with some hope, he has told Scott Boras that they can now start to talk again. He wants to stay here, so maybe that is some hope for us that we can build that team with Devers and Bogaerts there. I was asked a couple questions, and I'm just going to go to my Circa app and explain them as best as possible. Jeff, do you think the Celtics are at a good price now? Jeff, do you think that the Panthers will bounce back? 2 great questions, because you can go in and get series prices now. I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing here. First, in the Celtics and the series price as we speak, down 1-0. Heat minus 130, Celtics plus 110. And here's the thing. The Heat are minus 4 tomorrow. And still don't know if Smart's playing. I don't know if Horford's playing. Horford's in COVID protocol. Does he have to sit out this game and wait till the weekend to come back to Boston? And I don't know the availability to Smart. The Celtics played an amazing first half. And then Heat come out 22-2 to start the second half. Thanks for playing. Here's my thoughts. If Horford and Smart do not play and the line stays at 4.5, don't bet it yet. Wait. Celtics go down 2-0, heading back to Boston. You're going to get them at probably plus 200. And the only thing the Heat would have done was held serve at home, and the Celtics will now add 2 players come the weekend. So I would hold off on the Celtics series price. If they happen to win tomorrow, well, we missed our chance there. Okay. Now I'm going to get to Scotty's favorite thing, the Tampa Bay Lightning, who did what they do and they won again. And now the Panthers, the Lightning are minus 130 and the Panthers are plus 110. We have futures on Panthers to win the Eastern Conference and to win the Stanley Cup. Vasilevsky is 17-0 the last 3 seasons after a loss. So do the math. If you do the math and that series holds up and the Panthers win tomorrow and they just go every other game, on paper, the Lightning will win in 7 in Florida. Now, if you want to get in, you better get in tomorrow or tonight before the game, because I'm going to expect the Panthers to win this game. But then game 3, Scotty's going to be favored around minus 125, and then he'll be favored by minus 125 in game 4. So if you want to get into the Panthers series, this is the only chance you have to get plus money. In the NBA tonight, one game, Golden State is 5.5, I think. Open to 5.5, still 5.5. I'm showing a 64% of the tickets, 73% of the money coming in on the Warriors. Yet the line, we call that a classic line freeze. Under over opened at 214 and a hook and is 215 at the Vegas Strip, 214 and a half at Circa there. The 2 hockey games tonight, Rangers, Carolina. Carolina opened at 170, now 167. If you want to get into that game, I would go Carolina regulation. You should be able to get that right around even money. And Edmonton, Calgary opened at 170, now 158. Our buddy Andrew McGinnis was here on the show. He likes the over 6 if you can get it. It was 6 this afternoon. It's 6.5 in a couple spots, 6 in others. So if you can get over 6 in the Edmonton Calgary game, take a look at that. Scotty, closing thoughts.
I've been talking about offense in Major League Baseball, and it's coming. 13 runs in a game with Fried and Burns today. The offense is coming. So the batting average is now 235. That's the highest it's been all season. And I think, depending on how things look, you got another score that's 11-4. That's 2-1 already by the Boston's game in their second inning. So that's 3 runs. That's probably 9 runs going to be in that game at least. So I think you're going to run into some offenses coming. So just keep that in mind. And one of the things I've been thinking about is, and I'll ask you this question because it's probably a pretty good question to ask you. So one of the things I look at all the time are what are the projected standings going to be, right? I mean, that's kind of how I base my lines and do all that stuff. But now that they've played, 25 games or whatever the number is, you can look at what should they be then for the rest of the games. So in the next, say, 140 games, let's just say, their record's going to be X, Y, and Z to create that number that it looks like at the end. So do you bet on the number that is going to be that number? Meaning the 145 game range. So, for example, if the Yankees are playing 750 now, and part of the projected numbers are going to be that they're going to be a little bit over 500 or whatever the number is, and then they're going to get credit for having those 750 in the line. Okay, well, they're not going to play to that number, so why would you put that number into the line? If you want a real number, if you play the number of the 140 games left and what the projected results of those are going to be, wouldn't that be more accurate?
Well, I'm going to use the Yankees as an example. They're 18 games over 500. Their preseason projection
was 90 games.
Was 90 games. Okay. So what did I say? They have 136 left, right?
Yeah,
so,
well, I mean, they've played. I've got the wrong thing in front of me. They've played they've played 20, 30. They got 126 games left. That's what they got.
126 games left. right? So they
The
are
gap,
20.
that gap number, projected number, rest of the season is 71 and 55. That's a 0.564 number.
See, so that doesn't make sense in this regards. You're telling me they're going to play 16 games over 500 the rest of the year, and they're already 18, which means 34 for the season, which means that they're going to win how many games for the full season? Over 100?
98.
98.
So
See,
it says so they're projected to win 98 games and have a winning percentage of 606. But do you bet them like they're a 606 team, or do you bet them like they're a 564 team? That's the question. Because ultimately you're not going to bet them at a 750 except for right now. So as things start to come along, their true power number, or the true number that they're going to be, and the number that the sports book is going to use, is going to be the projected number at the end.
Mhm.
They're not going to use the one in the middle. They're not going to use the one for the next 140 games. So the one that's the next 140 games is really what they're going to play to create that other number. You follow what I'm saying?
So if those numbers were spot on, I will tell you this. If those numbers were spot on in the rest of the year, the Yankees were going to play 16 games over 500, correct?
Yeah, they would win. They would be 564, 71, 55, which creates a 98 and 64.
Okay. If you had Biff's almanac right now, and that was the numbers, if you bet against the Yankees the rest of the season and those numbers came true, you would be up, I would say, 15 to 20 units at least.
That's what I'm trying to say. I think that there's a fine line to trying to figure out what you're supposed to bet versus what they're throwing at you on the board, because there is another way to look at this. And if you're looking at it based off of where they're going to be, well, they've got to play those games to get to where they're going to be. And then that's really what you should be banking on, is that winning percentage, not the one that they're going to be at the end. Does that make sense?
And that's why, what did I start the show with? Take a snapshot at some of these teams and then take a look at it on Memorial Day, which is only 2 weeks away. Then take a look at it on July 4th. Okay? Then August 1st. So I'm not the outliers. Who are the outliers? The Reds? Maybe. Mm-hmm. The Orioles? Are the Red Sox an outlier? So I think with that thought process, because you see this all the time, Scotty, the Dodgers win 105 games, and if you bet on the Dodgers every game, you lose money.
Yes.
You lose money.
You're gonna end up that way on the Yankees, because they're going to be minus 300 and shit all this pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Just so you know, by the way, the Red Sox projected rest of the season is 66 and 60.
So 66, that gets them to 80. I said the under on them too. So that I think that's pretty spot on. I think that one's spot on.
So that's just sort of, and then the Blue Jays is 70 and 55, which is one game behind what the Yankees are doing, and the Rays are 65 and 60.
So intriguing, and that's what we bring to the table, peoples. That's what we bring to the table. So again, it's been a busy day. Tomorrow, 10:30, set the alarm for the West Coast. East Coast, make sure you're up full of energy. Brady Tinker will be on. We'll be talking Luca. We'll be talking Spieth. We'll be talking Cowboys. He is one of the Dallas beat writers. Great friend of mine, and is going to bless us at 10:30. And then at noon, Sean Alvarez. We had him on for the Derby. He'll be back on for the Preakness. And then myself and Scott will be back for the closing bell. And Friday right now, tentatively, Dave Sharapan, but I'm not going to hold my breath there. We're waiting for confirmation there. And then the weekend, me, Scott, Riley will be here to get you guys set up for the weekend. PGA tomorrow, tees off. The ECSI VIPs, I'll have an alert out later tonight. I'm still crunching some numbers, trying to figure out how we can dig in there, potentially put ourselves in line for some Sunday. So with that, if you are wagering tonight, please do it responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Scott to E. Webb at Webby20 MLB, we wish everyone a blessed evening. Cash some tickets, have some fun, and we'll see you in the morning.